Hello, it's Enemy Album Club again.
It is. I'm Dan Stubbs.
I'm Leonie Cooper, and we will be discussing 3 albums, 2 that have come out today, and 1 all-time ultimate rock opera classic that came out 40 years ago this weekend. It's an album that I have a deep affection for, and Dan may or may not.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? We'll find out.
So the first album we're going to be talking about is Jessie Ware's Glass House.
Maybe I want to, maybe I need you. Oh, yeah.
So, make us aware of Jessie Ware.
Very good, Dan. So her first album came out in 2012 called Devotion, second 2014 called Tough Love, and the third one, Glass House, came out today, 2017. So Jessie Ware has been around for a while. Kind of about 10 years ago she started out as a backing vocalist for people like Jack Pignata and Man Like Me, so she's kind of deeply in that London cool scene. She used to live with Felix from the Maccabees, she's mates with Adele, mates with Florence and the Machine. She's on the second Florence album doing backing vocals as well.
Massive scenester is what you're saying, basically.
Hell yeah, but in like a cool, fun way.
She's worked with some highly credible people.
Yes.
Sampha, Subtract, Bobby Womack.
Yeah, so that's the Bobby Womack.
I believe so, yeah. I think she did backing vocals on some stuff for him.
Great. But yeah, so the Sampha stuff, that side, she was doing all the backing vocal stuff, and then Sampha and Subtract got her to kind of do vocals and took her out of that backing vocalist no man's land. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, this is all right, isn't
Nobody
it?
puts Jessie in the corner.
Indeed, indeed. A direct quote there.
But I sort of see her as the hipster's choice X Factor contestant. So she does these big, ballady Leona Lewis type songs that that hipsters go, yeah, I like that. When if it was Leona Lewis doing them, they'd go, no, that's shit.
I think there's nothing wrong with that though. In my kind of take on it is the millennial Lisa Stansfield.
Right. Okay.
So similar kind of vibe, cool but actually quite mainstream at the same time. She manages to balance the two very well, and I think that's because of her past and doing all that stuff that she did, so long ago. And then the Sampha stuff as well, because everyone loves Sampha now.
And this album, actually, it's got some really great songs in it. So it doesn't try and be anything other than this kind of big, ballady, like Whitney-ish, occasional Princey.
Mariah, and there's definitely some Sade on there as well. What's the song that sounds basically quite similar to Smooth Operator?
Selfish Love.
Selfish Love.
Quite a lot, yeah.
If you like Sade, you'll like that song.
And Sade is one of the biggest selling... Was she like the biggest selling artist of the year a couple of years ago? Or like
really?
Or maybe it was tour-wise or something.
But Sade's influence now is kind of all over the place. People like Drake kind of saying how much he loves her, and loads of people just sounding like FKA Twigs. That kind of sultry 80s soul sound is all over the shop at the moment, and she's plugging into that as well. And what is different about this album as compared to her last couple of records is she said it's a lot more personal. She's kind of writing more from the heart. She said in an interview recently with The Fader, I thought I was just writing songs, but it's become this record that's for my husband and my baby. It's been a wild couple of years, and I feel like this album represents those ups and downs, the fear, the beauty, the celebrations. So there's this song on the record called Sam, which I think is the name of her husband, also the name of her kid. Right. And that's very personal. There's a line on that where she basically slags off her dad for not being around when she was a kid. And that was co-written with Ed Sheeran. Have you heard of Ed Sheeran?
I believe I'm familiar with him, yeah.
So they've written together before. So bringing Ed on board is like kind of pitching for the top, isn't it?
Yeah, although I always feel with Ed Sheeran, when he writes with other people, he sort of just dashes off any old crap. Like
well, but the stuff he did with Justin Bieber is not just any old crap.
Well, that's true.
Love yourself. Yeah. Dan, maybe you should love yourself a little bit more.
But the problem with being the hipster's choice X Factor contestant is no hits. So there's a song on this album, Midnight, the first track, which was a single, and it is an amazing song. It's this kind of brilliant ballad that kind of goes all over the place, kind of really kicks in halfway through, and it got to, have a guess where in the charts?
17?
89.
Oh.
89 in the charts. So there's no reason that song, like
that's not.
It definitely could be like the winner's song on this year's X Factor and suddenly be massive.
Are you saying hipsters don't buy records?
I am saying that, yeah, they do streams.
Buy some records, hipsters.
Buy some records.
They're quite good. They look really good in frames on the wall in your hip house, hipsters. I like the song Alone. That's a really decent, big, belting tune. Yeah. Co-written with Kid Harpoon.
Yeah.
another kind of guy from 10 years ago London scene who was doing solo stuff and now is just a songwriter. He does other stuff for Florence and people like that. So yeah, she's got a good team around her. The songs are good, but is something just not quite sticking?
Everything is lined up. This is a great album. Get behind it, people. Or Simon Cowell, just make it the winner's song.
Yes.
And then
do that thing they did with Biffy Clyro a few years ago. Yeah,
yes.
do a biff, Mon the Biff, Mon the Ware.
Mon the Ware.
That won't catch on, will it?
No.
No, it's worth a shot. How many stars would you give this? How aware should everyone...
we don't do that. We do something punning related to the album cover that tells it.
How aware should we be of...
No.
OK, all right.
How many glasses out... How many shot glasses out of 5 shot glasses will you give this?
I want to give it houses.
Houses, OK. How many houses?
Duplex.
Okay, how many duplexes?
I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5.
We don't do halves here, but I'm going to go 4.
OK. Should we talk about another album now?
Why the hell not?
All right, what is it? Fantastic. I don't know, what is it, Dan?
Well, we both know, really. We were just pretending there. It's actually Margo Price with the album All American Made.
Never hurt anyone, little pain. Never hurt anyone.
So, as a person who owns at least 5 pairs of cowboy boots,
Hell yeah!
This is
my music.
This is made for you.
These are my people.
So Margo Price is this kind of brilliant old school country star who is, but she is from now.
That is
She's
exactly
like a person from the past who is now.
Yeah, so she sounds like kind of Tammy Wynette, Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn, all these kind of classic 60s and 70s country artists. But she is indeed from now. She works in the present day. And she is signed to Third Man Records, which is Jack White's label, based out of Nashville. She is from the Midwest herself, though, so she's from Illinois. Her first album came out last year, Midwest Farmer's Daughter, which was just this brilliant old school sounding record, but had all these really sad tales on it. There was death on there, there was prison on there, just like she'd been through the mill a fair bit. There was
classic stuff of country music.
Well, exactly, yeah, that's the kind of perfect fodder, and the stuff about her family losing the farm. You were quite involved in that storyline, weren't you?
I liked that story, it was good.
You want to know if the family get the farm back.
Yeah, get that
So there's so much going on, and she kind of has had quite a rough life, but she was singing in a duo, I think, before, so this is her first solo album, but she's been singing for years. So that came out about 18 months ago. Did really well. She won lots of kind of awards and plaudits for it. There's things like the Americana Awards and that in that sort of world. She did very well. And it broke through as well. It's the first country artist that Jack White has signed. And obviously Jack White has gone for like an old school sounding country artist rather than kind of your newfangled stadium country.
Yeah, really, that's not the sound of Nashville anymore, is it? That's that kind of...
Well, the old school stuff.
No.
Well, since the kind of 80s, it's been that Garth Brooks kind of, and even Taylor Swift is kind of indicative of what Nashville became. Obviously, she doesn't sound country anymore, but that's where she came from and that's her roots. So Margo Price is harking back to the old school, and this record is still got that old school sound, but it's moved on slightly, but only in so much as it sounds a bit like Muscle Shoals and that recording studio that loads of people like the Rolling Stones and Aretha Franklin went to in the 60s and 70s. So it's got this kind of groove to it, like a bit of boogie-woogie.
Yeah, a bit of brass is almost like a bit of Motown-y stuff in there as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely. And there's a song, Weakness, which has got that boogie-woogie piano on it. Nothing to do with Jules Holland. Though he will.
His fingers are itching right now.
He's like, get on the show.
Get on the show.
Play my boogie-woogie piano on it. So that's great. That's all about just getting pissed. That's
a lot of it's about getting pissed.
It's a lot about getting pissed.
She likes booze. She likes a Beaujolais.
Who doesn't?
She likes whiskey.
Yes.
There's just
she
so
also
much
likes
booze.
Feminism, Dan. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I did notice it, but tell me about it.
So there's a song on here called Pay Gap, which talks about the disparity between kind of male and female paychecks, essentially. And it's about kind of a hard-living women. And also there's sort of like a song that slags off hipsters, which is cool.
Right.
Cocaine Cowboys, which is all about people from New York and LA going to Nashville, and they'd never even herded a cow before, Dan. How dare they? It's outrageous. And I love all the press shots, really good as well. They're kind of shot in Graceland, and it just seems very authentic, even though it is obviously not of the time, but it's got that modern twist lyrically with the stuff about feminism. It's woke country.
Well, she's kind of the boss of her band, so I wonder if she pays herself a lot more than the men in the band. I would hope so, to sort of redress the boss.
Well, I mean, they're probably session musicians, aren't they?
One of them's a husband, I think, isn't it?
Maybe.
No, I'm wrong.
Session husband.
I don't know. Do you watch The Simpsons, Leonie?
I mean, this doesn't seem relevant.
It does, because she really... Lurleen Lumpkin.
That's it.
She is the real-life Lurleen Lumpkin. If you like the episode of The Simpsons where Lurleen Lumpkin looks in Homer's eyes and says, "Bunk with me tonight," this is you will like Margo Price's music.
It's quite a niche reference.
It's not. That's a famous episode.
So all the things she's singing about, outlaw country, this is what it kind of represents, which is Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings and that kind of late 70s singing about drugs and sex and rock and roll, but in the country tone. So relating to that, Willie Nelson is actually on the album.
Real Willie Nelson.
And Margo and Willie like to smoke weed together. They have made no bones about that.
Do you think anyone who meets up with Willie Nelson gets a choice about whether they smoke weed with him or not?
Sort of makes you smoke weed with him. He has his own weed, of course.
Right, yeah.
I mean, he's not, obviously he's got his own, but his own brand of weed.
What's it called?
Willie's Weed?
Right,
probably.
You've made that up, haven't you?
I've made that up, but what if it's
some
not
in,
called
Willie.
that?
Send us some in. He comes in, and it's whenever Willie Nelson's voice comes in, so it's just nice, isn't it? It's like,
so nice.
It's like putting on
So
your
beautiful.
old cowboy shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's a very old cowboy shirt. He's in his mid-80s, isn't he? So he's on a song called Wild Women, and that sings about Jack Daniels and speed. Bad combo.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Do you think this is better than her first one? It's quite a quick follow-up.
It's a really quick follow-up, isn't it? For 18 months in between albums is pretty fast. I'm going to say maybe I prefer the last one, actually, but I think this is a really good record. But I prefer the last one only because it was so refreshing to hear something so old but new. And now this follows in the same track, but I really like it. But if I had to choose, which I've made myself do, you weren't making me do that, were you? Did you make me choose?
Which one you like?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the,
you did make me choose.
Question. Yeah,
I'm going to choose the other one, but I think this one's great as well.
I got confused myself there.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well then, how many Lurleen Lumpkins out of
I'm going to give it
5?
cowboy boots.
What? How many cowboy boots? Pairs of out of 5 pairs of cowboy boots?
So 8.
8
single shoes.
8 single shoes of 4 out of 5.
8 single boots, but that makes 4 pairs of cowboy boots.
Okay.
On the rail of boots.
Yeah. I'm going to give it also 4 pairs of cowboy boots.
So altogether, that's 16 solo cowboy boots.
It is, yes. Yeah. That's about how many's in your collection?
Maths. It's actually more.
More?
Yeah.
It's only classic album time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this classic album.
Did they get more classic than this classic album?
I think this is one of the most classic albums of all time, if not just one of the biggest selling records of all time. It is.
Big old slice of meatloaf. With the album Bat Out of Hell. So, Bat Out of Hell, preposterous, ridiculous record.
What a ludicrous album.
Sold
this is.
So many copies.
But you know, it took them quite a long time for anyone to pay any attention to it. So, do you want me to tell you the story of Bat Out of Hell? The story of
Bat Out of Hell?
No, because
that
story of the making, and then I'll go on to the story of the story.
Settle in, viewers.
I feel like Dolly Parton doing one of her CBeebies things. You can be Josh Homme doing his CBeebies thing.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So this is the second Meatloaf album, but it is more of a collaboration with this composer called Jim Steinman, who made a musical based on Peter Pan in the early 70s called Neverland. And there were some songs on it. He thought, these songs are pretty good. And then
it was a National Lampoon musical, I believe.
Yes.
Who knew they did
and
that
Meatloaf
as well?
was involved as well. And Meatloaf was like, these songs are pretty good. We should make an album. So they started recording, and I think they took it to loads of people like Clive Davis, and everyone was just like, this is so stupid. Of course we're not going to sign it. And then Todd Rundgren...
Well, you missed there's a good story in the Clive thing, because when he rejected it, apparently Meatloaf stood on the street outside his office and shouted up, "Fuck you, Clive!"
I could see Meatloaf doing that.
I
Meatloaf.
interviewed him once. He was a very intense man.
How close did he sit next to you?
Well, I had to listen to his whole new album while he sort of looked at me. Because he said, I just want to make sure the journalists are really listening to it, so I'm just going to watch it.
That sounds like the dream.
It was about, as close as this. He was just kind of, then he started rocking out to a few.
Do you know, as a child, what I wanted to be when I grew up was a Meatloaf backing singer or a gladiator.
Right.
So that
There's
might
still
explain
time,
some of
isn't
my
there? Still
enthusiasm for this record. So anyway, so Todd Rundgren was the only person who was interested, Todd Rundgren being this kind of proggy 70s singer, songwriter dude with long hair. Something he has in common with Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Long hair. There are a lot of people had long hair in the 70s, Dan.
Yeah, we got a lot in common. Men.
I don't know if you've seen pictures.
Musicians.
But that's what it was like. So anyway, took them about 2 years, I think, until the album was finally released. And it wasn't a hit when it came out.
Todd Rundgren thought it was a joke, didn't he? He thought it was a Springsteen spoof.
Well, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a piss take of Born to Run. It's this turbocharged version of a mid-70s Springsteen album, but with a proper rock opera kind of rocky horror
as far as I'm aware,
madness to it.
As far as I'm aware, Meatloaf does not think it's a joke. Like, I think he thinks it's a very serious thing.
I don't think it's a joke.
No. Anyway, but whether or not he thought it was a joke or not, he agreed to make it. Great producer. Yeah,
so it's like very, very flamboyantly produced record, a flamboyant album, I would say. And the story of the album, a young man who dies in a car crash while speeding. And he relives select moments from his life before his soul is taken to hell.
Yeah.
Intense, right?
Yeah.
All over the course of 7
Why is he going
songs.
to the bad place, do we know?
I don't know, stuff he did, Dan.
Yeah.
Who knows where we'll end up?
Yeah. So he's thinking, and different songs relate to parts of this. So you took the words right out of my mouth.
Which is a personal favourite.
That's probably the best song on the album, I think.
Which is like this big kind of Ronettes girl group song, and with a spoken word intro and hand claps.
Yeah, and that's him remembering his first love.
Sounds like a Christmas
2 out
song.
of 3 ain't bad is him breaking up with that same.
That's a good song.
Or different love.
That's a good song. Paradise by the Dashboard Light. I think that one's about shagging.
Right.
Yeah.
In a car. The same car that killed him.
A lot happens in the car. This car is quite important to him.
Cars are important to Americans, though. So
indeed, you can tell the history of America through the history of the car. But that's another.
Here's an
Car
interesting
Club,
thing.
a new show that we're going to be doing soon.
Here's life for you. So it started out as this weird musical and became this massive album. It's only a musical again now.
Well, of course, yeah. You can see it on the London Broadway that is the West End.
You've been to see it?
No, I really want to go though. Am I in it?
Yeah.
I'm a backing vocalist.
Yeah.
Yes. But we've not discussed something quite important to this album as well, which is the artwork.
Brilliant artwork.
Well, I thought you're a man who likes his comic books, or graphic novels, as some people call them. What do you think of this mad picture?
It's the kind of album artwork that when you see it as a child, it sets your imagination on fire.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
There's graves, there's cars, there's madness, there's Meatloaf, by a guy called Richard Corbin.
Right.
Not related to Jeremy.
Oh, Richard Corbin.
That's what they'd sing to him. So the title track as well, 10 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 7 songs on this album.
Yeah, but it goes on for a while.
We had it on yesterday in the office, didn't we? And it felt like really made the afternoon drag a little bit.
Yeah, the person I asked to put it on in the office, who was in charge of the stereo, said he had to put his Spotify into a private session before he'd agreed to play it. Which I think is quite a damning indictment of Bat Out of Hell.
People had long attention spans in the 70s, though, didn't they? So,
They did. They didn't have as much good TV or Netflix, so you just had to listen to music on the old Victrola.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Crank it up.
I mean, we're sort of mocking it a little bit. It's a landmark album.
I love it.
It's just ridiculous. It's great. It's preposterous. Meatloaf and Steinman. Not right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steinbeck's the
Not
piano, isn't it?
Steinbeck. Yeah.
No, that's the author.
Richard Steinway. Steinway pianos. Steinbeck books. Steinman. Bat Out of Hell.
It's getting like a old people's home. They didn't always get on, did they?
Well, no, because it says Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell, but obviously Jim wrote it, so he's got his name on the cover, and I feel like...
Is that what it is, you think? Or?
Yeah, that's why they fell out, I think, because they wanted to push the album as being a Meatloaf record, and Jim's like, yo, whoa.
Yeah, Neverland guy.
Yeah,
but,
remember me?
But they got it together again enough to do the odd little thing, didn't they? Bat Out of Hell 2.
Also, I don't know if you're aware, there's Bat Out of Hell 3.
Is there?
Yeah.
What happens in the second one? Just as just out of interest, does he come back from hell?
The full title of the second one is Bat Out of Hell to Back into Hell, and
so he presumably got out of hell and then had another crash and went back again.
Yeah. These things happen. Then the third one, Bat Out of Hell 3, The Monster is Loose. That came out in 2006.
Right.
Can't say I've heard it.
That's what happens when you keep opening a portal to hell. I've watched enough horror films to know that.
I've never opened a portal to hell. I don't know why this is a
portal to hell.
A small
but
portal to hell. I
saw a film once where there was one in the bottom of someone's garden and it was really a lot of shit kicked off.
Is it like the one in Buffy?
I don't watch that, but yeah, probably.
Wow.
Anyway,
so,
before the portal to hell opens and swallows
Bat Out
us
of Hell, the Phil Spector, Wagner, Springsteen epic.
Yeah.
How many bats out of hell would you give Bat Out of Hell?
I'm just going to give it 5 bats.
Yeah,
5 hell bats.
I'm going to give it 5 bats as well. It's Bat Out of Hell. How many records it sold? Like 50 million copies?
And it's Halloween next week. Why doesn't everyone dress as Meatloaf on Halloween? And that'd be the weirdest Halloween ever.
I could see you'd wear like the white frilly shirt and have the red hanky and the hair.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
And then no one will understand, apart from people who watch Album Club, why there's so many Meatloafs around.
All 20 million of you out there.
20 million.
Yeah.
See all of you next week.